Hello everyone and welcome to CRJ 111 Police and Society Chapter 11 for Des Moines Area Community College, and I'm Professor Steve Martin. And in this chapter we're going to talk about technology in policing, cybercrime, as well as police use of technology, and a little bit about forensics and crime labs at the end of this. So anyway, we basically have, with the use of technology now, new crimes emerging all of the time. Um, the idea of high-tech crime being used through the utilization of electronic devices like computers, phones, even gaming devices. Um, Computer-related crime, it's basically an illegal act involving computer technology. And cybercrime's use of computers to commit crime. These are some basic general terminology that we talk about. Basically, the computer is the object of a crime. It could be the target uh, of criminal activity. The computer could be the subject of a crime, with the computer as the physical location of the crime or as a source or cause for particular types of crimes such as asset loss, viruses, that type of thing. Or the computer could be an instrument of the crime, used to commit more complex variations of traditional crimes such as internet fraud and things like that. So we have the computer as the object, the computer as the subject, and also the computer as the instrument of use. Those terms would probably be interchangeable in my mind. As far as the types of computer crimes that could occur, we have malicious codes where these things are written and spread as viruses, worms, spyware, maybe a Trojan horse, logic bombs, things like that. Uh, they they harm the operating systems of computers. Fraudulent schemes obviously would be used. Disruption of services, spying on others, or hacking would be another use. Some unauthorized file sharing, maybe cheating or plagiarism in academic pursuits, online harassment, and stalking by pedophiles, etc. And of course, the use in cyber terrorism. Either through the computer or using the computer as a tool to carry out some terroristic activities. Obviously, there are some differences. Jurisdiction is one of the biggest ones. Some of the crimes perpetuated here in the United States using computers actually originate in African nations. The Middle East, China, places like that. So trying to track down perpetrators, hold people responsible, and actually charging them is very, very difficult because of the way that jurisdiction is set up here in the United States, where you have state jurisdiction, you have federal jurisdiction. So this is one of the reasons why federal agencies, especially the FBI, have taken the lead in investigating and prosecuting cybercrime, is simply because of jurisdictional issues. Some of the new technologies that we have in policing, some of them are brand new. They've been around for a while. Things like computer-aided dispatching, that when somebody calls 911, it pops up immediately an address. It might also pop up what law enforcement agency would have jurisdiction, what fire and ambulance response teams would be for that, and those types of things. It definitely helps dispatch capabilities. Mobile data terminals and squad cars, again, wireless communication systems between dispatch and officers in the field, and also between officers. The ability of officers to input reports from out in the field, reducing required runs to the police station. The production of documents within the squad car, such as accident reports and citations, is something that has made things more efficient. Some of the other databases that law enforcement agencies use, for instance, the National Crime Information System, or NCIC, National Crime Information Center, that houses wanted people, stolen items, things like that. the use of computers in crime analysis, identifying hotspots so that resources can be deployed to these locations based on the number of crimes at a given location or in a given area, the times, the dates, the methods of operation all come out of crime analysis based on the examination of individual reports. And also something called computer assisted or computer aided instruction. Again, these are going to be things such as the firearms training system, FATS, Milo systems, where officers are taking realistically based decisional training in use of force based on scenarios that are presented to them in a training environment. Shots can be recorded. Comments about whether shots should have been fired or not, or what the best course of action would have been under the given circumstances, are also offered by an instructor who facilitates this training. There's also driving simulators, squad car simulators that can simulate pursuit driving situations and things like that. So this is all good training that's afforded based on the technology that we have available now. The use of in-car cameras and audio recording devices. These are now going from the car onto the individual officers themselves. There are more and more agencies beginning to use this technology where officers will have a camera on their person and also the situations being audio recorded. I know the University of Iowa Police Department has been using this technology for a couple of years. And again, it's to protect not only the individuals that officers deal with, but also protecting the individual officers against accusations, and also I think it aids in training too. Again, some of the things we're talking about with high tech and policing, the automated fingerprint identification system is a database where we keep, or the FBI actually keeps a database of known fingerprints. They know who the fingerprints belong to. Those primarily come from 10 print cards to the unknown prints that are obtained from crime scenes. The two databases can then be compared against one another to see if one of our known persons that we have fingerprints on file for actually committed that crime, leaving the unknown print at the scene. One closely related to that would be the CODIS database, the Combined DNA Index System, which takes known DNA samples and compares them to unknowns taken from crime scenes and from victims. Very similar type of a database. Electronic immobilization or control devices. Obviously, we think of tasers with things like this is something that has evolved over the past several years. This technology is getting enhanced more and more all the time. Closed-circuit televisions, surveillance cameras, and things like that are being used on a more regular basis, and the quality of those is also being made better all the time. Digital photography, both in video and in still form, has greatly enhanced our ability to store large amounts of photographs and video footage from squad cars, photographs from crime scenes, mugshots in much smaller areas, and the ability to reproduce those or produce them for viewing on a moment's notice has also been very helpful. The idea of forensic science and criminalistics. Basically, forensic science means the application of science to law, and the term criminalistics refers to the use of science in evaluating physical evidence and using scientific technology to solve crime. And you also often hear these two things used interchangeably. But basically, a criminalist at the crime lab is a scientist, not a law enforcement person, and they're primarily evaluating evidence based on proven scientific techniques to determine if that evidence could be beneficial in helping to hold somebody accountable for committing a crime. And some of the areas they use criminalistics in are the area of ballistics, and firearms examination. Ballistics literally means the study of physical objects in flight, and in this case we're probably talking about bullets. and so that's what ballistic means. Also, they, like I said, do firearms examinations. Serology is referred to as biological screening, and it involves the examination of blood, semen, other bodily fluids. Uh, Also involved here would be DNA sections, where they're not only taking samples and entering known samples from, let's say, felons and people convicted of certain types of crimes, entering those samples into a database of knowns, but also evaluating unknowns from crime scenes and gathering that evidence. Physical science would be the examination of things like soils, dust particles, paints, glass particles, fractures. We often call this trace evidence. The toxicology section of the crime lab analyzes alcohol and drugs collected during investigations and arrests, and it examines those body fluids for the presence of alcohol or drugs. The question documents section analyzes and compares handwriting samples, computer printouts, typewriters, paper and ink samples to assist investigators in identifying various aspects of criminal behavior. Crime labs might be supplemented by things like forensic pathology. This is going to be your medical examiners, your autopsies. They'll work closely with those folks. Fortunately, here in Ankeny, on the DMAC campus, we have the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation Crime Lab, and right next door to them in the same lab complex, we have the Iowa State Medical Examiners pathology lab, where probably 80% of the autopsies in Iowa are done. So those folks being housed right next to one another causes for a very smooth collaboration between the two organizations. Forensic anthropology, the study of skeletal remains and bones, is something that's usually facilitated through the Office of the State Medical Examiner, but obviously the State Crime Lab would also have interest in these types of analysis and investigations. Forensic entomology, these are often folks from state universities and colleges that study the effects of bugs and insects at crime scenes. And finally, dentistry and forensic odontology, the study of teeth, the study of bite mark impressions and things like that, obviously would have a bearing on some investigations. And that's what the science of odontology entails. And there are some other ones too. You know, everything from forensic geology, the study of soils, to even forensic meteorology. You know, what was the weather at the time a crime occurred? Based on temperatures, what would be the rate of decomposition for a body exposed to the elements, those types of things. So those would be some additional support for the crime lab and the medical examiner. And this would then conclude Chapter 11.